Every morning at exactly 8:15 a.m., Ethan Walker walked into the same little coffee shop in downtown Chicago. He always ordered the same drink, a large caramel latte, extra hot, no whipped cream. It had become part of his routine after losing his wife 3 years earlier. Life felt quieter now. The coffee shop was the only place that still felt familiar. One rainy Monday, while waiting for his order, Ethan noticed another cup sitting alone on the pickup counter. Written on it were the words, "For Olivia." Minutes passed. No one came to claim it. The barista sighed. She orders every Monday online, but she never picks it up. Curious, Ethan asked, "Does she ever come?" The barista smiled sadly. Not once. The next Monday, the same thing happened. A hot latte, name Olivia, no customer. Without thinking, Ethan paid for both coffees and left one untouched on the empty table near the window. It somehow felt wrong to let it go to waste. As the weeks passed, this became his own quiet tradition. Every Monday, 2 coffees, one for himself, one for Olivia. Then, one autumn morning, just as Ethan was about to leave, a young woman rushed through the cafe door, soaking wet from the rain. She looked around nervously. "Did anyone see a coffee with my name?" Ethan looked at the untouched cup. "I think it's been waiting for you." She smiled with relief. "I'm Olivia." She explained that every Monday she ordered coffee on her way to work, but something always happened. A delayed train, a sick neighbor, an emergency at the children's hospital where she worked as a pediatric nurse. She laughed. Maybe it was waiting for the right Monday. Ethan smiled. Maybe it was waiting for the right Monday. From that day on, Monday mornings changed. They began sharing coffee before work. Sometimes they talked for 5 minutes, sometimes an hour. There was never any pressure, just easy conversation. Winter arrived. Snow covered the streets of Chicago. One morning, Ethan confessed that he had almost stopped believing new memories could replace old ones. Olivia looked at him gently. "They don't replace them. They simply make room beside them." It was the kindest thing anyone had said to him in years. Spring came. Cherry blossoms bloomed along the riverwalk. One afternoon, Ethan asked Olivia, "If you could relive one day of your life, which one would you choose?" She smiled. "This one." He looked surprised. "Why today?" "Because today, I'm exactly where I hoped life would eventually lead me." Months later, the coffee shop announced it was closing forever after 40 years. On its final morning, Ethan arrived early. The tables were decorated with old photographs of loyal customers. Near the window stood one last table, 2 warm coffees, both waiting, one labeled Ethan, the other labeled Olivia. Olivia walked toward him, wearing a soft blue coat. She reached into her bag and pulled out a tiny silver key. "It's for a place I just rented." Ethan looked confused. "A coffee shop?" She laughed. "Our coffee shop. We're opening one together." Tears filled Ethan's eyes. "For people who need second chances." She nodded. "And for coffees that are finally claimed." Ethan slowly took her hand. "I came here because I thought I was alone." Olivia smiled. "You never were." A year later, a new cafe opened on a quiet street in Chicago. Its name was Second Cup Cafe. Above the entrance hung a small wooden sign. "Some people come for coffee, others accidentally find home." Every Monday morning, the first 2 cups were always placed on the counter. one labeled Ethan, one labeled Olivia. Neither of them ever missed another Monday. Because sometimes the greatest love story doesn't begin with fireworks, it begins with a cup of coffee that nobody came to